Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro on a Tuesday. Our in-studio guest is Minister Stretch Sanders. We're talking about the new homeless ordinance that was passed by Mayor Carolyn Goodman. A homeless person can be fined up to $1,000, spend up to 6 months in jail. So Stretch has decided to shut down Fremont Street on MLK Day to protest this homeless ordinance. It will hurt local businesses, it will affect traffic, and it will affect people and their bottom line. Do you agree or do you disagree with Stretch? And we're taking some phone calls. We have a few phone lines open, 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. Stretch, I want to go.
We must take a stand.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's going to inconvenience people, but the real inconvenience is the war on the poor. The real inconvenience is the sister who can't afford to have her cycle properly. The real inconvenience is those who are going to be hungry. See, we're so concerned what's going to happen to us, what's going to happen to them.
Mm-hmm.
We've lost our sense and compassion for humanity, and we lost our love for each other. What happened to love thy neighbor? How I'm going to say I love you, and then when you get attacked, I don't stand up for you.
All right, well,
this protest is me being the big brother for my little brothers and little sisters.
And I know your heart's in the right place. Let me say that again. Let's take a few phone calls at 257-5396. Go to Brian. Brian, you're next on the Vegas Take. What do you have to say about all this?
What's up, Brian?
Hey, what's happening, gentlemen?
What's up?
How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing good. I just wanted to ask, I wanted to inquire of Stretch where he got his ordinations from first, and then I have a follow-up about what I think about the ban.
All right, go ahead, Stretch.
So, Brian, I'm licensed. I'm not ordained. In the Baptist church, there's a two-step process. First, you're licensed through the church, and then once you go through seminary training, which I'm in seminary school right now, you're ordained after your seminary degree is in your hand. So I go to Faith International University and Seminary, and I have a year left. And once that's over with, once my pastor feels that I've met my requirements, then I'll be ordained. And all ordination means in the Baptist church is that I have the right to marry people without having a license from another pastor who's ordained. So you get papers from the state, which is officiation papers. That's the only difference between a licensed and ordained minister.
All right, Brian, there you go. What's your next question?
Which Baptist organization? There's a whole bunch of different Baptist groups.
Missionary Baptists. We're under the National Baptist Convention.
All right. We've asserted that.
Our president is Pastor Kelsey West.
Go ahead, Brian. Next question.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And for me, I posted on the Vegas Take Facebook page a video called Seattle is Dying. And I would encourage everybody who's listening today to watch that 1-hour video. It was done by the news broadcasters in Seattle. YouTube has taken it off, so you can't watch it there, but this is from the news organization itself. Number two, the ban, I think, is basically a tool. The homeless people do not have a right to camp, to pitch a tent on a sidewalk of the city, defecate in the alleyway or piss in the alleyway, throw hypodermic needles in the gutters for everybody else to clean up. If I'm a business owner and I pay for a business license and my business depends on walk-in clientele coming to my business, and I've got 5 or 10 tents out in front of my door.
Stretch, go ahead and respond to that.
And so I agree with you. I think that none of us are saying that people need to be on the street and need to do what comes with that. But at the same token, understand it's survival, right? I mean, you have the luxury of having a bathroom. So it's easy to say people shouldn't, leave feces on the bathroom, on the floor, or urinate in the alley. So to stop that, the solution is not to arrest and to fine. To stop that, the solution should be, let's get these people in homes. Let's get these people some mental health treatment, some therapists. Like I said, anybody who's out there who you may think is out there by choice, that's a mental health issue. Anybody who's out there because of alcohol and drugs, something's wrong with that. Let's get them in some rehab. So we have to stop criminalizing people when they fall into poverty and what comes out of poverty. But Victor Hugo said, wherever darkness is, crimes will be committed. So what's causing that darkness? So if the crime is them peeing and urinating on public property, what's created that darkness? Not having a home, not having living wages, not having medical care, not having mental health medication. And so let's get to the root of the problem. I want them off the street as much as you do. But I want them to be in civilized homes, not in nasty shelters and on the street or in jail.
But at what point do you make the people responsible for their own decisions and the repercussions that come with that? I mean, at this point, I mean, when do you take Darwinism into consideration here? When people when they drink themselves out of all their money, or they do drugs to the point where they have nowhere to live, or they gamble at many of the casinos in town and they lose all their money, which happens all the time, and obviously it happens here in Vegas more than anywhere else.
Happens to me every day, but I'm not homeless.
Of course, you don't punish them, though. You only punish those who do crimes.
But they're punishing themselves,
and that's okay. Then let that be what it is. But we don't fight that with I'm going to give you a fine and jail time. So now, if that person comes inside a casino and they put feces and slams it on the table or urinates on somebody who's gambling, then yes, that person needs to be held accountable because that's something that they're breaking crime. They're breaking laws and rules and regulations. But people have a right to camp out wherever they want to camp out if there's nowhere to go. There's 5,000 beds. I mean, there's supposed to be 5,000 people on the street with 1,000 beds. Excuse me. So if there's 5,000 on the street,
Stretch, there needs to be middle ground. I agree with you there. Let's take some more phone calls at 257-5396. Joel, you are next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Stretch. What do you think about all this?
Thank you.
What's
for
up,
taking
Joel?
my call.
Sure.
Stretch, I totally agree with your idea that you need to rattle cages. Sure, it's going to inconvenience people, but that's the only way you're going to get their attention. But I would ask you one question. What you're talking about are long-term fixes for immediate problems. What do you envision the city can do, because it's got to be done by the city initially, to get people off the street tonight?
Good question,
like you
Joel.
Said, there are only 1,000 beds and there are 5,000 people. So what do we?
Okay, good question, Joel. Let's go ahead,
Joel,
Stretch.
thank you for your question. So what I propose is the city can take some funding for the hotels and motels that are abandoned on Fremont Street. You have the Alicia Hotel. You have multiple free hotels and motels that have been closed down for years. We can take those and make those 6 months to a year transitional living centers, put salons, put food pantries, and give people 6 months in and out. You can do a lot in 6 months to get a job, to save up, and put them through a program, have a therapist on file, and that can be done immediately because the hotels and motels are already up. We just have to redo the structure a little bit. And so I propose having more transitional living centers, take some of the property and gets those who have backgrounds in construction and build tiny homes. Multiple cities across the country are building tiny homes and trailers. People are taking buses. We can go get abandoned buses and vans, make those. Look, if they got people in a bus,
solutions.
that's okay. Just get them off the street.
How about sending people in buses to Gene, which was an old jail, and it could be turned into a facility where people will have, a bed, food, access to health care. See, I actually like that. And guess who wanted to put that into place? Oscar Goodman. I asked Carolyn Goodman about it. It's something they could consider down the road. I think they should do it right now. However, I want to bring this up really quickly. I was a reporter over 10 years ago. I covered the culinary union strikes, okay? It was happening downtown, okay, and happening on the Strip. They closed down streets. I know some people that weren't able to get to work that day. And I'm going to tell you something. While I support those people to a sense, at that day, and since then I said, why should you get more money and more of an hourly wage when your objection, what you're trying to do is you're trying to inconvenience me, good people that are trying to go to work every day. Now, I know this is a different subject than the homeless because these people do have jobs, but I was pissed off at the culinary union, and I was pissed off at the fact that they wanted to you could have a strike without blocking roads. You could have a strike without inconveniencing people. So again, it goes back to what I asked you earlier. Why must you inconvenience people and shut down Fremont Street? Why hurt local businesses and good people that are trying to make a living? Why block streets of good people? What if there's an ambulance that needs to get through?
Not even quote unquote. You don't know if they're good people, but they're definitely productive members of society.
And what if there's an emergency where an ambulance needs to get in there?
You are absolutely impeding their ability. I mean, you're impeding commerce in the biggest tourism city on the planet outside of Macau and China.
Here's somebody that might agree with me. I'm not so sure, but let's take a call from Leroy. Leroy, you are on with Stretch Sanders. Go ahead.
What's up,
Hey
Leroy?
guys, I like your idea about the using the properties downtown, but it's just not realistic unless the town owns them properties. Because an acre of land downtown, you know as well as I do, goes for what, over $1 million?
Right.
Right now, more than that.
Way more than that.
So, yeah, a lot more than that. Look, man, there's a solution to this problem. When I first moved here in 2002, there was zero unemployment, man. You either worked here, had the money to live here. There wasn't all these people on the streets. And then they made it much more easier for people to just say, I don't want to work. everybody was going on welfare, getting hooked on drugs, already hooked on drugs, and then the next thing you know, you got this. Now, there's truly some people that have mental problems, but a lot of this came out of neglect and just trying to give everybody a free ride. And then they came out with that Agenda 21, and,
Leroy, do you agree with Stretch's approach to how he's handling this?
I agree with his approach, but it's got to be done from the top up, like from like the governor saying, you know what, let's do something about this. It don't matter if it's a Democrat or a Republican in there. They all do the same thing when it comes to this.
Sadly,
right. Leroy.
Let's give illegal aliens all these benefits. Let them vote. Let them drive. But you got some guy that don't even know where he was at that maybe served in Nam or Iraq, and that guy's living on the street. Now, there's something big wrong with that. And
Leroy, it's a big problem. That's a big problem.
Right?
The fact that yesterday we had veteran parades downtown, and you got those who are veterans on the street waving at the parade. And so we have thousands. Matter of fact, they say 72% of those on the street are veterans. And so that's a huge problem. How can you serve this country and literally be forced to sleep on the street? That's a shame on us. So this affects everybody. We all have had relatives who are veterans. We all have relatives who are in the service now, in the past. So the solution is, I understand people may not like the way we're going about this, but for us to get people to say, hey, this is wrong, and we're calling, this ain't just on the mayor, we're calling on the governor to step in.
And he can.
And our city leaders.
Sisolak can step in if he wants to. He's the governor.
To step
That's
in
a good
and
point.
say, you know what, we will take off this ban, and we're going to give 6 months to implement some social work programs before you go to let's arrest and get fines.
And I want to get Sisolak on the show, and I want to talk to him about this issue.
Bring him on when the mayor comes on.
257-5396 is the number to call. Why don't we go to Tom? Tom, you're next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Stretch. What do you think about this? Tom, are you there? We lost Tom. 257-5396. Let's go to Jim. Jim, you're next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Stretch Sanders. Go ahead, Jim. Did we lose Jim also? I think we lost Jim.
Come on, Jim.
702-257-5396, the number to call. Bruce, hopefully you are there. Thanks for calling in, Bruce. What's on your mind?
What's up, Bruce?
Hey, Brian Goody. Hey, just real short and simple. I think a real simple way to get the majority of people away from the sidewalks and stuff would be if you just create some bed space, like just, some tents or shelter, and give them some porta-johns and maybe some, portable showers that we had.
All right. Fair enough. Let's let Stretch respond to that. It's really, I apologize. It's really hard to hear you. It might have been an Obama phone. I'm not sure. But anyway.
So absolutely. So, yes, we're planning to shut down Fremont Street on MLK Day. Yes, it's called a Justice for the Poor March. Poor people organizing one revolution. And I believe that this is to have the conversations of solutions. We can take old abandoned homes. You know how many abandoned properties, foreclosed homes we can take? You know how many nonprofits that need grant funding that we can pay them to run these properties? It can be done. Anything seems impossible till you get it done. As Nelson Mandela said, we need to change our mindsets and change the way we're viewing this issue and realize the person on the street, that's your concern. That's your obligation to help them. And if the city doesn't want to help, we'll help ourselves. But we will go where the money's at, and we're going to hurt them pockets, and we're going to affect business, and people will be late for work, and people will be aggravated because at the end of the day, those who are going to work and those who are opening business can go back home. So we're standing for those. And so, yes, if we got to inconvenience you for a couple of hours to make sure that those can live in peace and not be fined and given jail time, then we will do what we have to do the same way King did what he had to do, Medgar Evers, and all those freedom fighters did what they had to do so we can be free. The tradition continues. The struggle continues. As Nipsey Hussle will always say, the marathon continues.
Stretch, why are you indicated last segment that you were confident thousands would show up to this. What makes you so confident that you'll be able to move thousands of people to show up to this Fremont Street shutdown?
Well, the goal is 1,000. If that goal is not met, if there's 20 of us, the 20 going to shut it down. So I'm not confident that we will have any specific number.
Wait, you think 20 people are going to shut down Fremont Street?
However, when I got arrested, it was 9 of us that got arrested. It could be done. If I got to get that by myself, I will.
Fair enough.
And so I'm not confident in any number. I'm asking all those who care about those. We all a paycheck, couple of paychecks a few paychecks of being on the street. So we need to get back our compassion. And yes, we need to have solutions. And yes, we need to have a game plan. But the mayor and the city council, Cedric Creer, Michelle Fiora, Seaman, those who voted yes, need to be held accountable.
Right, so
and we will come at them individually and go to their events and protest their events and shut down their events until they overturn this ban. It ain't just going to be the protest. It's going to be every time they come to something, we're going to hold them accountable because you should not wage a war on the poor.
We don't have a lot of time left, and our phone lines are jammed, so I want to get to as many phone calls as I can. Let's go to Steven. Steven, you are next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Stretch. Go ahead.
Yeah, great. Hey, Stretch, you've got 21 now on your team. I completely agree with everything that you said.
Cool. Well, hey, you got somebody.
My man, Steven.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that agree with you. I believe Kimberly is next on the Vegas Take. Kimberly, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, this is Kim Bailey Turow, and yes, I totally support Stretch, and I'm a native of Las Vegas. My father was Bob Bailey. When he arrived here in 55, it was segregation, and it's always been a concentration and a celebration for gaming in Las Vegas, and unfortunately, the locals have been forgotten, and it seems as though now in 2019, we're still are forgotten, and we are a collective. Some of the people that are homeless now on the street, they used to work in the casinos. They used to, or they got addicted to gaming.
Kimberly, we agree. We agree on that. But do you think Stretch is going about it the right way by closing down streets?
Yes, and yes, and I do believe because see, the onus was on the city council to do the right thing. Do focus groups. Go into the
Kimberly, you sound like a smart lady, Kimberly. So let me ask you a question.
So the thing is
hold on, Kimberly. Hang on, because we have a lot of other callers, but I do want to ask you a very important question. Do you think in society, if we disagree with something, because in society we disagree with a lot of different things, right? Do you think the right way to go about it, if we have a disagreement, is to shutting down businesses and shutting down street corners? Don't you think if we lived in a society like that, where everybody did what Stretch did, we would be in a lot of trouble?
No, I don't believe so. I do believe that Martin Luther King, his fight before he died was the war against the poor. So I do believe that the formula has already been made, and it's all about getting the attention, getting the issue to the table.
Okay.
If they didn't bring us to the table, we got to create the table ourselves.
I agree.
So
okay,
I believe in activism, and I believe in protest, and Vegas has a lot of work to do.
You're right, Kimberly, and I appreciate your passion, and I appreciate your phone call. Thank you very much. Let's go to Joe. Joe,
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you, Kimberly. Joe, you are next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Stretch. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing? I'm listening to what Stretch is saying. And something that hasn't been addressed is those people are only threatened under arrest if there is room in a facility, and they're not going to that. First of all, the facility will require you to live up to some sort of standard, and most of these people don't want to do that, which is why they don't go to the.
That's probably true.
They would much rather be free and doing drugs and shit, ruining people's front yards. What about the rights of the people who live at the houses that they're camping out in front of? Why should you have defecation and urine all over your walls?
Stretch, comment on that.
Somebody else can't pay their bills.
Joe, hang on the line. Stretch, go ahead and respond to that.
So I agree. I think that people with their homes definitely don't need to be defecating and bringing down property. But I also think that it goes back to the solution. Give them a toilet. Give them a bathroom. Give them somewhere to go. I think the reality is, yes, the clause is they only going to be arrested if the shelters are empty, but there's never empty shelters.
Okay, well, what about this?
So
Stretch?
it's never going to be. They're never going to have anywhere to go, which means they're going to go to jail.
What if you've got a shelter and it fits 2,000 homeless, and you've got 60 or 70 state-funded employees that are running it, because someone's got to watch. Someone has to make sure that there's order in the shelter. Is there access to alcohol? Is there access to gambling? Is there access to heroin? Is there access to drugs? What if you have a bunch of people that are coming down off heroin and they have a massive withdrawal, a bunch of withdrawal symptoms? How do you handle all that stuff? I mean, you're talking about putting them in different circumstances, and I agree there needs to be different circumstances. But are you going to take all the different things away from them that are probably keeping them homeless in those new circumstances?
Yeah, so it has to be a complete detox of diet, a detox of mind, everything.
I could use a
changed.
detox of diet.
And so absolutely. So you have to take them off the toxins. They need to have therapists. They need to have motivational coaches to empower their self-esteem.
I mean, you're talking hundreds and hundreds. If you're talking not just order, but also education, also rehab programs, you're talking hundreds, if not more than hundreds, of state employees that they're going to have to make sure that can take place, along with all the expenses that go along with the actual shelter or the barracks or whatever the building is itself.
Joe, do you have anything else you want to add? Because I know you've been waiting patiently there. Go ahead.
Yes, he has been saying that he's going to have people shutting down Fremont Street to stop people that actually have jobs that actually may be one paycheck away from being homeless themselves is completely irresponsible.
And that's a good point,
ridiculous. And I'll be out there to push these people out of the way. If you guys are going to try and block traffic, I'll be there fighting against you. I promise.
Well, we don't want to fight, Joe.
No, we don't want riots either.
Fighting by pushing them to get out of the way. If there's a
you can't really push somebody.
Well, Joe, let me say this, brother. I ain't that type of minister. So you push me, you getting pushed back.
Well,
so bring it.
Tell you what, we're going to have a
bring
conflict.
It, baby.
Okay.
I will tell you this, Joe.
You can do that, Joe. I'm not that minister, baby. So
hold on.
You come out there pushing me, you going to get pushed back, brother.
Joe,
you can believe that, Jack.
Hold on. Joe, you're not condoning violence, are you?
I'm not condoning violence. Why should these people that don't want to work be stopping people that need to work?
Okay, I agree. I agree with you, but I wouldn't respond by saying I'm going to push you out of the way. That's condoning violence. Stretch is saying he would defend himself.
You're trying to get to work and there's a person standing in front of your car.
Well, they're going to get arrested.
It's a better way than let the authorities.
When they get hit by a car because they're speeding in the roadway,
it's not your place, brother. Let the authorities handle it. But you dealing with violence is not how it works. I'm just letting you know, don't get the minister twisted, brother.
Okay, so why are you stopping me from making my money because your people don't want to make money themselves?
It's not my people, it's our people. We're a human family, and we have to fight for those who are poor.
All right, hold on. Let me interject here. Joe.
They choose to stay on the street, shit on the street, and drink alcohol and do drugs.
What do you mean your people? Please define, Joe, I'm partially on your side. I think it's an inconvenience, and I agree with you. But what do you mean when you refer to Stretch as your people?
Your people, the people that he is organizing to come out to stop regular, hardworking people from getting to work. Those are his people.
Fair enough, Joe. We appreciate your passion and your phone call.
Yeah,
but
thanks for the call, Joe.
We do not condone violence here, and I think I think what Stretch was trying to say is, if you push me, I'm going to push you back in self-defense.
And Stretch is also 6'10", so
Stretch is a big man.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah. Stretch is a big man. All right, let's go to Steven. Steven, you're next on the Vegas Take. Go.
What's up, Steven?
Okay, don't go. 257-5396. Why don't we go to Lewis? Lewis, you are next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Stretch Sanders. Go ahead, Lewis.
Good morning, gentlemen. Mr. Stretch, I agree with you that these people need a place to live. I mean, everybody has tough luck and all that stuff. But I look at it this way. If you got class, you will find a way to get one of these rooms available. Now, what's happening is, half of the people homeless, which I experience every day, I see it every day, and I'm in the area of South Polaris Avenue, the 4200 block of South Polaris Avenue. They have completely homeless people living down here under these bridges. There's bridges here. They're living here. They have destroyed one building almost completely.
So what's the answer, Lewis?
They painted it to death. The cops chase them from this area over to a block away. They set up camp, and a month later they come back. Now they're right behind the building on the other side of the fence.
Okay, Lewis, we understand the homeless issue is a problem, but we're not talking about what homeless people do as far as inconveniencing you. We're talking about how to fix the problem. Let's go to Jimmy. Jimmy, you're next on the Vegas Take. Is it your opinion go ahead, Jimmy, go ahead.
Just a quick note, the preacher is starting to sound a little bit thuggish, trying to intimidate the guy that he's going to do harm to him if he pushes him out of the way.
Let's Stretch defend himself on that. This man is saying you sound like a thug, Stretch.
No, he called you a creature.
No, he used the term thug. Go ahead,
brother,
Stretch.
If I come across thuggish, then that's the last brother's fault. I think at the end of the day, that brother said that he's going to be down there pushing us. Pushing is physical. And so my whole statement to that brother is, at the end of the day, don't get it twisted. I'm not that preacher who's finna turn the other cheek. And so I fight with those who fight with me. And so at the end of the day, I believe in certain circumstances, I will turn the other cheek, but you come out there pushing us out the way, that's not how you go about it. And so if you physically touch me, then you will be dealt with.
I am on your side, Stretch.
So that's not a threat. That's a promise.
We only have 1 minute. We got to break. I always appreciate it when you come in. I also know I know this because I think I know you pretty well by now. You've been doing okay, your heart is in the right place. I know you want to help these people. We disagree on some things, but let me just defend you on one thing. When this gentleman says that he is going to push you out of the way, that is condoning violence. Make no mistake about it. You have a right to defend yourself when somebody puts their hands on you.
Now, if you're standing in the way and he asks you to move, are you going to move?
Well, no, then he gets arrested.
Because we have a goal at mind. So for those who don't agree with us, let those who will be out there deal with us accordingly. If you don't think we should be blocking traffic, the police will be waiting on us when we get there.
Yeah.
Let them do what they got to do. Don't you try to play hero and touch anybody, because if the tables was turned, I would not touch anybody.
Stretch.
Give us that same respect, whether you agree with it or not.
Stretch, we got to go. You know, I always appreciate it when you come in studio.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you
here,
guys
man.
so much. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. All right, take a break. Be back right after this.